Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your man, Sean Zittel, walking through the peaceful streets, the tranquil streets of Boulder City. And this little girl would not let me leave her side, so we're going to have to do the walk and talk with her. Let's get into this spirited middleweight title fight between Carlos Adames and Austin Ammo Williams. I enjoyed this fight. I was left standing in my in-laws' living room clapping after this fight because of the gumption by Ammo Williams and the nasty precision, the violent, nasty, mean-spirited, but intelligent precision of the guy who's definitely the #1 middleweight in the world right now, Carlos Adames. You know, watching tape on Adames this week, I was so impressed going back to the Terrence Crawford sparring session. That sparring session would get shared in little clips and would kind of be made to make the point heading into the Canelo fight how impressive Crawford was in that sparring session. But if you go back and watch all 3 rounds of that sparring at Gleason's gym in Brooklyn, that Adames got incredible work done with Terrence Crawford. So it was definitely going to be an uphill climb for Ammo Williams when a guy could really hold his own toe-to-toe with Terrence Crawford for 3 basically fight rounds. They weren't even working or really sparring. They were going at it. And Adames tonight showed everything. You know what? We'll start with the nitpicks before getting to all the praise. One nitpick of Adames, and my guy Sean Porter was texting me about it towards the very end too, not keeping his foot on the gas. But there is a intelligent reason for that as well, and that's because Ammo is dangerous throughout with his left hand, with his explosiveness, and part of that intellect is not pressing too much, not pushing too much. It's she's trying to butt in and say, come on, Dad, you got to understand he's an intelligent fighter. In his corner, Ishmael Salas was telling him, hold on. In his corner, Ishmael Salas was telling him to stay smart in there. And he wanted the stoppage, but he was going to go about it intelligently off the head movement. And man, his flexibility with his upper body and punching off of it was beautiful. He showed everything tonight on the offensive end, along with that sharp defense with the head movement, moving his waist. But his straight right hand, 2 of them right away in round 2, beautiful, right down the pipe. They drop Ammo Williams, and then throughout the fight, he landed a beautiful left uppercut in the 8th round off the slip counter. Beautiful body work. I don't know how Ammo Williams sustained all those clean body shots. Went low a couple times, got a point deducted in the last round. But, I mean, he hit Ammo with everything. His jab wasn't that busy. Ammo actually had the more effective jab tonight. But speaking of the low blows, though, but when Adames did throw his jab, it was very effective. But when Ammo, he got up and woke up a little bit after that knockdown. And after he fought, he closed the 2nd round pretty decent enough. 3rd round, fought well off his jab. And then the 4th round, he was fighting off the jab well, getting some combinations done off of it. And then after the low blow, he starts talking to the crowd, and you could hear Mora saying, you got to stay focused, Ammo. And a little bit of a lapse of focus. Didn't close that round well when he got off to a good start. And then in the 5th round, it started to look like he was getting broken down. And Adames really took control in the 5th round. And from the 5th round on, that's when Adames didn't really have too much fear or respect of Ammo's power. Early in the fight, right after he dropped him, a left hand from Ammo seemed to shake his equilibrium up a little bit. And he had to be honest. He had to take his time. But once Adames felt comfortable and in control with the pace, he really started to light Ammo up with technical brilliance. Let me switch arms here. This arm's it feels a lot better. So in the 6th round, it looked like Adames was starting to really, it looked like he was going to get him out of there. I tweeted in the 7th round, I don't know if Ammo gets out of this next round, or heading into the 7th round, because the body work was so beautiful and debilitating by Adames. You could see him starting to make Ammo wince and double over and have to bend down because he was getting hurt to the body. And he somehow makes it through the 7th. And then for the rest of the fight, he kind of had a pattern of shooting his best shot, shooting his load early in the rounds, and then having to just get backed up from rope to rope and have to withstand the accurate precision, the place shots of Adames. But he kept it suspenseful throughout. You knew an occasional barrage, a burst was coming from Ammo, but the body work took its toll. You know, he still had something on his punches, but Adames showed a good chin in addition to defense and offensive brilliance. He was able to eat whatever Ammo had, and the difference in their craft and pedigree showed up, and Ammo couldn't make up for it with power and balls and resourcefulness. Not quite. Not by, you know, on the scorecards a long shot, but scorecards don't tell the whole story of how spirited a middleweight title fight this was. So, you know, with Janibek popping hot, Adames is clearly the man to beat in the middleweight division. Still just 31 years old. Would like to see him fight more than once a year. Would like to see him in some unifications, but he's the world's best middleweight right now. And this version of him, you know, against Janibek, how you doing, fellas? This version of him against Janibek would be, you know, a pick'em kind of fight. You know, Janibek stays on the outside good, but we can't even really get into Janibek right now. He struggles to make that weight. He popped hot. So Adames is the man at middleweight, but I want to give a lot of credit to Ammo Williams. I think he was inspiring in defeat. He left it all in the ring, and that's all you can ask a guy to do. So major props to Ammo Williams, and obviously major props to the best middleweight in the world, Carlos Adames. I thoroughly enjoyed that fight, and you know, if one of the star junior middleweights a year or two from now moves up to fight him, I'm game for that. You know, there's a dearth of talent at middleweight. But yeah, go back and watch that Crawford sparring session, all 3 rounds, if you need to get more Carlos Adames fix, because that might be the best thing you can see for the next 12 months. But love the fight. 2 good coaches in the corner, Coach Cunningham and Coach Salas, and that was a hell of a fight, spirited fight. Well done, gentlemen, and congrats to Carlos Adames, the reigning and successfully defending WBC middleweight champion of the world. República Dominicana, stand up.